All right. Hello, everyone. I am Mr. Torture. I am back on the helm for the Bad Game-a-Thon. Thank you so much, Crow and Couch, for that amazing run. The glitches, the face, the Timmy face. For the love of God, that Timmy face I don't know. Just someone in chat mentioned someone slap Timmy just to change that face because God, that was a game. So what we have next, we have another Crow game. We have more Nicktoons up ahead with Attack of the Toy Bots. So please stick around while we set it up and we'll get onto it.
はい、次のゲームはですね、スポンジボブと仲間たちトイボットの攻撃となっております。こちら解説の方がいらっしゃいませんので、詳しい方いらっしゃいましたら、解説に来てくださるとありがたいです。でですね、これでスポンジボブ、ゾーンじゃないな、ニコロデオンゾーンかが終わりになりますね。これがですね、Wii のゲームで、任天堂のページに、ソフトの情報が残ってたので、それを読むと、平和なビキニタウンに現れた謎の工場。一体何を作っているのかとスポンジボブとパトリックは興味津々。カニカーニバーガーの注文を受けて工場へ行ってみると、現れた巨大ロボットにパトリックがさらわれてしまう。パトリックを助けなきゃ冒険の始まりだということで、またロボットと戦う。ロボットと戦いがちというゲームだそうです。2007年12月20日の発売。 走者の方が先ほどと同じ黒38933で、35分29秒で2位の方ですね。無音になったな。無音になっちゃいましたね。
All right, seems like we're ready to
Oh,
go.
来た来た。
I don't hear music, but I don't know. But well, doesn't matter. We'll go right into the game. So now we have Nicktoons attacks of the Toybots by Crow once again. So here we go.
Amazing. Alrighty. Hello everybody, my name is Crow3893. I am back again with Nicktoons, this time with Nicktoons Attack of the Toybots Any Percent. So this game released in 2007 for the PlayStation 2 and Nintendo Wii. The main story about this game is that Professor Calamitous is going to be titled The Biggest Genius. Now, this game itself is pretty interesting. It's unlike the previous one that was ran, which was Nicktoons Unite. This one is actually an action-adventure platformer, and we get to roam around as the other characters, but with some pretty interesting tech and movement compared to the first one. So, I'm not going to continue explaining about it. I would rather just show you guys, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, I'm playing this on the Wii version due to faster loading times because there's not really much of a difference with both other than loads. But one downside is that the Wii version has an autosave which is locked, which is pretty unfortunate. But we found a way around it. Alright, so timing starts normally on the first loading screen, but there's this autosaving segment that's going to play, so I'm just going to wait for that to go on. But in the meantime, I would suggest that you guys really enjoy and get ready for this game. So here we go. In 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so now
Good luck です。
level, which is Bikini Bottom, but it's not like your average Bikini Bottom that you would see in the actual SpongeBob show. So that cutscene I just skipped has to revolve around what's basically going on right here with SpongeBob, and you're wondering what the heck is up with him. So SpongeBob and Patrick were delivering 3,287 Krabby Patties. The problem with this was that they
だいぶ動きが早い。
ended up stealing all of them, and while Patrick and SpongeBob were trying to stop them, the robots ended up kidnapping Patrick, and SpongeBob's only way of entering into this factory was able to disguise as a robot, as you can see right here. And right now we're currently just maneuvering our way over to the end to be able to save Patrick. And right off the bat, you've been noticing that I'm doing these really long jumps after I'm rolling off of like a platform or a specific area. So this is actually a speed tech called Roll Cancel, and it heavily
あれこれバーガーがあるけどこれカーニ
rolling speed in this game is double the walking speed.
カーニのバーガーの中ですかこれは。
And you have the analog stick in its neutral position. The game has no idea what speed to store in other than the rolling speed, which was its last unit, making you go much farther, like twice as the distance. A little interesting fact is that you can also T-pose in this game, and, for the heck of it, you can also clip, and this is the fastest way to beat the
今
level.
落ちたのは普通のこと？
So that clip saves like 5 seconds compared to going out of bounds in this game, and I'll go more into out of bounds later. But yeah, you can T-pose in this game. It's canonical. All characters can T-pose, which is pretty funny. It's unknown why, because this was never the grabbing technique was actually never mentioned in like the game manuals, online, anything. But it's really strange. So what's happening now here is that we were able to save Patrick, but that other person we saw was also Tack, and we also met up with Timmy Turner, and now we're currently into this factory because we're at to look for other heroes who are trapped, which is mainly coming with Professor Calamus' scheme to become the biggest genius. So he's doing this by using Krabby Patties, fairies, and ghost energy, and scanning master models of other heroes to try.
いや、これはなんか、あれだな。このスキップはなんか、単なるショートカットだな。抜けてるとかじゃないな。
And then here comes something that you don't normally see in your average SpongeBob episode of SpongeBob just breaking physics and being able to walk in the air. Well, except the fact that he probably has Toon Force. But with this out of the way, you can see that this level is not really supposed to be how it is. And by jumping, I can hit this trigger, and I'm now entering the level which is supposed to load in for Gur's master model. So Gur in this game is supposed to be unlocked way later in the game, and then if you need an example, you basically unlock him by unlocking another character, but you have to get another character by completing
ちょ
another
っとマリオ的なものを感じるな。
like halfway into the game's story. But we were able to just do some deloading into the we were able to unload the later section, and by just jumping, that actually removes the pipe that's normally supposed to block it. We're able to just jump around, and we're able to just jump through it, and able to hit the trigger, which is very useful for this instance, being able to collect this master model really easily. And now, and speaking about Invader Zim references, here comes another Invader Zim inspired thing with this chamber. So we're currently dealing with these enemies called blocks, and these are some enemies that we're going to be encountering in these chambers. Oh, this is good RNG. Oh my gosh, this is good RNG. That is crazy.
あれ、今味方を落とした？
347. That's really difficult to get. Like,
これ一応プレイ人数が1から2人ってなってるんで、2人でもプレイできるってことは多分2人でやる用の味方があれだったんじゃないか。
Was that I collected a master model, and those are actually the main requirements in this game in order to progress onwards. So there are 19 master models in this entire game, but only 9 of them are needed to complete in the 90% run. So
すごい早い。
9 fastest ones, using like some of them using their various tricks, others are done casually with specific characters, and but another thing is also having to deal with like the excess amount of like walking and running and movement that we have to do because there's a little bit of time since most of the master model levels are not
スポンジボブ自体がビッグバット。
for each of the levels. They're a little bit apart from each other, and right here comes the second one.
存在がビッグバットってことですか。
We're able to just jump on another invisible
なん
platform.
だか
We could just enter into the next master model of Jenny's. Now Jenny is also another character that you don't get until way later into the game, which takes a little bit more time. But we're able to just jump and easily hit her trigger that activates the level. So we're basically tricking the game into thinking that we're playing as Jenny and that we just entered in the level, even though we're not playing as Jenny. We're playing as SpongeBob, which is very cool. And yes, I will mention this. Some of the master models of characters are unlockable, so like Gur, Jenny, but also 2 other ones such as Stimpy, aka Stimson J. Cat, his real name, and Rocco from Rocco's Modern Life. So those 4 are unlockable master models that you can get, and they're, in my opinion, the really fun ones in this game, which is what makes this game really worth it. And oh my gosh, this RNG is really good. So you can actually sometimes trick the enemies into falling off.
ヤマト落とした。
Because these enemies, and specifically the blocks, they
でも味方落としても、自分も落ちていくけど、味方落とし、置き去りにしても平気そうな感じでしたね。
So we try our best to make sure that we just push the enemies off the ledge, and some of them are in there can have a stun animation.
今左にいたけど置き去りにしてるもんな。
About that when that's shown off, but because these enemies don't have it, we have to just try and hope that they just fall through the ledge as quickly as we can. And now we're just progressing onwards, collecting our second master model of the 9. And we're just gonna continue, and right here, we're gonna go for a cool thing right here. Nice, that was really good. And then we're gonna enter through here, jump on some more trampolines, getting some more gymnastics. But that's not the only time we're gonna be seeing gymnastics in this game. And just for the heck of it, I'm gonna go for a little funny strat. So normally you're supposed to jump on this pipe to end the level, but by just doing a precise timing, you can actually just do this. Let me see if I can get it. Okay, that's way off.
これあれですよね。何気なく見てたけど、画面に対して自キャラがすごい小さい気がする。そんなことない？すごい小さく見えるんだけど。
It's really funny. So now we're entering, so you're probably wondering, why are we entering into Factory Zone 1 again? So this is because, so there's 3 factories in this game: Factory Zone 1, Factory Zone 2, and Factory Zone 3.
ですよね。やっぱり小さいですよね。
So we just finished Zone 1 Part 1, and now we're into Zone 1 Part 2, and we're currently just progressing onwards because that cutscene that was skipped actually met us Jimmy Neutron, but we haven't unlocked them yet. We unlock them at the very end of the level. And so right here, we're just going to continue onwards. And we're going to be collecting one more master model right here. And I'm going to go for a cool strat. Nice. So for this level, you're normally supposed to be Patrick, but I did a trick called any character skip. So what this does is that, as mentioned with how like rolling speed can be stored into jumps, not only can rolling speed also be stored into jumps, but also like this little wind that sucks you up when you try going on top of a master model pipe entrance. But if you go, but some of the levels have like, some of the ones actually have like a slightly thinner invisible wall, or like invisible platform. So by getting like the extended height boost with the wind, when you do your jump, you go barely past it, and by doing more jumps, you'll immediately just jump in and hit the trigger because the trigger is right above it. So instead of it being Patrick that decided to enter this level, SpongeBob, his best friend, decided to do it for him, which was really helpful of him. And then right here, we're currently in this level, and we're back inside another chamber. And another thing I do want to mention is that doing Patrick's level without Patrick with the ACS method is really fast, because you can actually skip the bottom section of his level, and that saves about like 7 seconds as well, and like a bit of a 2-second cutscene. And right here, we're collecting the master.
なんかな、さっきから同じようなステージをやっているような気がするな。あれ？今の見たぞみたいなのが多い気がするな。
It's different compared to the other ones in this game, and I'll go more into detail about it when I enter in it. But basically, what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be collecting the master model with some pretty interesting.
気のせいかな。
But I'm gonna just try my best to hype it up before we get started. So just gonna do some more roll cancels. There we go, and here we go. So I suggest you sit back, relax, and enjoy some jungle gymnastics. But real quick, here's a cutoff.
誰？
Calls upon this trick. So
誰なんだ？
Tax level right now, you can see it's different compared to the other 3 that we were in, because those ones look more like platformers. This one as well.
またちっちゃいな、キャラが。
I'm gonna go for a strat here. So that jump I just did,
Wii のゲームなんだけど、PC ゲームみたいなスケール感じゃない。これは。
As you can see, the skybox is now shown, and many elements in the game are not loaded in. And from here, I can just fall and roam out of bounds. It's really awesome. Again, a great Nicktoons game. So this trick, because of not hitting that.
これ久しぶりに落ちてる感じですかね。
And we're able to go out of bounds. But first, I gotta focus real quick.
あ、アウトオブバウンズって言ってますね。落ちてるんだ。
Oh, dang it. Okay, I messed up. Oh, wait. Okay, there we go. I backed it up. So what I did right there was I was able to fall out of bounds, and out of bounds in this game is similar to those of you who may have saw Nicktoons Unite earlier. It works the same way right here, but instead, when you hit a specific value, on the bottom part, the game warps you up to, wraps you up to a specific part above, but not to the highest point. So it's very useful for this instance. And you're probably wondering, where the heck am I right now? And that's a pretty good answer. And I'm
あ
gonna
と
give
基
a pretty
本
good answer.
的
What
に
I just did was that I entered into
特有の操作とか、そのキャラ特有の操作とかって
and I mentioned how
あ
there
る
were
の
three
か
factory
な？
zones. So by doing this out of bounds movement, we were actually able to go from Factory Zone 1 to Factory Zone 3's Tax Master Model level. And right here, we can just continue it onwards. And this
この
trick,
壁走りみたいなのがそうな
one
の
of
か
the
な？
reasons what caused this, the any percent category to drop down by a major amount of time since. And if you want to, and then just to give a bit more of an example of how much this basically skipped, this saves almost 20 minutes of excess levels and platforming, which is very, very good, and dropped down the 80% time down in almost by by half, really. So right here, it's gonna have to continue onwards, and I'm gonna go for a cool cycle over here. I'm gonna try and focus for it. Okay, wasn't able to get it, but I'm gonna play it safe. Oh gosh, dang it. Alright, that was too low. The cycle's a little bit difficult to get. There we go. So we're just going to continue this onwards, and now we're basically tricking the game. So the game thinks that we have now completed Factory Zone 3's Attack Master Model level, even though we haven't, we skipped everything else. The game just doesn't think of that entirely. So we just tricked the game into making us skip half of the in the entire game, which is really great. And look, there's Jenny right there. So characters that can be unlocked have 3D models instead of the JPEGs
こ
that
こがね、なんかね、いつもね、あれってなるんですよね。さっきもあったかなっ
to
て。
tell which characters are unlocked and which ones aren't.
で、また落として。
Mr. Huggle's enemies, and some of them were in the air, and after you shoot them for a specific amount of time, they go in a little stun
はい、で、
animation.
自分が落ち
You
て。
actually have them go off screen, they'll just disappear entirely. So that saves
う
like
ん、バットかも。
waiting for the animation because they have to also explode and then their particles go away. But when they're just off screen, they're immediately gone, which is very useful. And now you can see right here, we're currently now into Factory Zone 3. Not only just Factory Zone 3, but Factory Zone 3.
ではですね、ゲームの途中ではありますが、ここで視界交代となるので、交代いたします。ありがとうございました。引き続きお楽しみください。それでは失礼いたします。
We're going to be collecting a master model during our journey, but our second reason, which is the main one, is to actually progress onwards to be able to unlock the main hub world, which is the basement, because at this point, we still haven't collected all the master models to finish the rest of the level. So that's what we're currently doing right here, but we can't have any access to transport into the main hub world because the game still thinks that we haven't completed Zone 1.
はい、司会進行変わりまして、ここからは、私、貧弱が担当いたします。どうぞよろしくお願いいたします。
But we still have to collect some master models. Nice. So this game is
ただい
like
まのゲームは、
heavily
スポンジ
involved
ボ
with
ブ
like
と
movement
仲
and
間
like
たちトイボッ
specific
トの攻
like
撃。
like
です
really
ね。
cool tricks like done to like defeat
私もこちらのゲーム、
enemies,
右白ですので、
like really cool jump, speed
ゆ
boosts,
るーく
and
右
being
白
able
実
to
況して
do
い
some
ければと
glitches,
思います
especially
ので、よろ
the
しくお
ground
願いいたし
warp,
ま
because that
す。
causes us to just skip half the game entirely, which is very, very useful. So right here we're being chased by a UFO with some space theme going on. We're going to go more into explanation about who those in the UFO actually are, but first you're going to have to deal with
だい
some
ぶ
loading.
高いジャンプの連続のようですけ
Again,
ど、
a great game.
たまにジャンプした時に足場が見えなくなるのが、あれですね、カメラワークが少し
In and of
上の
itself.
方向いてる感じですかね。
Alright, I'm gonna go for a jump here. Nice, that was very good.
なんか良くないことをしているような気がする。良くないことをしてる気がする。
Right there, I did a little jump to enter into Stan's master model much earlier than intended. So that saves a bit of time, but because I had the depth, so some of the flooring right here, the
前
green
方
parts
から迫
actually
り来
like
る
they fall
謎
down,
の
like they
物
would
体
just
を
break
受
like
け
little
つつ、
like
はい、
like fragile glass. And right here, just had to play it a bit more safely because I was off cycle by a little bit. But yeah, we can just continuously go. We can just continuously go onwards, and we're able to just, again, as usual, trick the game to thinking we're doing this one thing as another character, even though we're not that character. But it's very helpful for this instance. So now we're back in the Master Model Chamber. Gonna be collecting the Master Model of Ginger from Life Told by Ginger. Gonna be dealing with more Mr. Huggles, and one just fell, which is very helpful because that saves time. Gonna push this one off the edge, and there we go.
なんかボス戦っぽい場所で戦ってるようですが、
And also right there, you can see another Invader Zim reference was that there was also the Urkin Armada logo that was on top of the button pad that was that I did a slam on. So Urkins in this game have a bit more of a useful thing when it comes to the story, and I'll explain more about it towards the end. But first, we have to deal with more generators. That was the one thing they kept in this game.
必ず味方を落下させる儀式があるのが笑ってしまう。
And then right here we have this combat section with 2 fight phases, but by just doing a roll cancel, we can easily just do a checkpoint abuse, and we're able to just skip it, saving over 10 to 15 seconds, which is very helpful. Roll canceling in this game really changed a lot of like how much can be skipped.
いきなり進んで
And
くるよう
also
です
led
ね
to。more involvements of being able to go out of bounds in some areas that we never thought we could, and just making certain segments much faster.
Pretty dangerous and pretty.
So now we meet up with the UFOs again, and we get to have a revenge after they tried to after they chased us with a laser.
唐突な一人称視点で
Now I mentioned earlier at the end of Stan's master model that having them involved with the Urkins. So little interesting thing about the Urkins. So the people who are controlling these UFOs are actually the Urkins themselves, but probably
大
not
砲を撃つた
Zim,
びに少し
because
視
Zim's
線が上に行くのが
at least I hope.
厄介ですね。
Also, right there in that cutscene, there was a small fraction of Professor Calamitous. As I mentioned in the previous run, that he is
3D
now
ゲーム
here.
で画面酔いする一番の原因が縦揺れなんですよね。
We're gonna be going back into
苦手な方は
Factory Zone 1. So this
ち
is
ょっと
mostly
気持ち悪い
the
とか思った時は
backtracking that we have to do
画面から目を離していただくと
to,
適宜対応をお願いいたします。
remainder amount of master models needed. So we currently only have we have to collect like 4 more, but some of them are going to be used with some really cool tricks. So we're just going to be doing Timmy's casually because we already have Timmy unlocked, but also have to be very cautious because
見るからにシビアそうなステージになってきましたけ
level
ど、
too early. That would cause it, a little bit of
この
like a bit of
な
a
んでしょうね、
soft
この
lock.
棒
So
を
I
避
have to
け
be
な
very
がら
cautious right
飛んでい
there.
きます。
And right here, I'm gonna go for a cool little skip. So if I get good SpongeBob spawn, okay, nope. All right, so right here, gonna abuse the property of being able to jump on top of a character's head, and by doing this,
何やら細い足場に乗っ
I'm able
て
to just do a roll cancel and jump to
悪
the
い
end
こ
of
とを
the
している
level.
のか、これが
That
正規
saves
攻
about,
略なのか
if
わかり
getting
ま
it
せんが、
first try and really fast, that saves around 10 seconds because there's normally supposed to be a section where you have to dodge like these pillars from falling down and hitting you as well as like other enemies. So being able to just do that roll cancel, it's called box jump. It's called box jump, and that saves 15 seconds, which is very helpful. And really, it's not that it's a bit tough to get at first because you have to line yourself in a specific spot. But with enough practice, you're able to get it. All right, let's see if I can get a good slam. Oh yeah, Cosmo's a hammer in this game. A little fun fact.
とりあえず倒していって、
All right, okay, there we go. It's a little bit difficult to land on like the edge of that platform. There we go. So now right here, just gonna continue onward with the rest of the
展開
level.
が
So
早い。
normally you're supposed to, you can like continue into the pipe to enter, but by just we can easily just warp ourselves to the main hub world, which is the basement, and we're able to just go there immediately, which is very helpful. And another cool thing with this is that we're able to just progress onwards. Now, what I did earlier was that I entered a character select screen for Amity Park. So that's actually a 6-minute shooting section that we were just skipping due to the trick done in Tax Master model. But the issue with this is that I actually had to enter into the character select screen to unlock Danny and Sam.
またなんか殲滅ゾーンですね。敵を全員残らず倒して全員倒したら先へ進めるっていう感じでしょう
With
か。
the game's memory, it's unknown what it is specifically, but it probably has to do something with Danny and Sam not being unlockable. But that's not the only time we're going to be skipping unlockable characters. But right here, it's going to be entering into Sam's master model, which is the shortest one in the entire level. And the shortest one in this entire game as well. It's just simple climbing and jumping, and there you go. Pretty cool. Really fun. Great game. So now we're back inside of the Master Model Chamber. Going to be dealing with the Mr. Huggles again, because they just don't want us to collect our Master Models. Now, they can actually... their movement is mostly on, like, RNG. It's not known that there's, like, a manipulation to try and have them, like, land in certain spots.
敵の方も ガンガン攻撃してくるようですね。
deal with. All the enemies in this game have like specific movement that we have to try and work around. Just making sure that we can also hit them with our goo, which is also very useful. Even though this is called goo, I still like to pretend that it's the Nickelodeon slime, just because it's really nice. So from here, we're going to be entering to Factory Zone 2 and the second checkpoint. So another advantage with this game is that for each of the master models, there's checkpoints that teleport you to like closer to the master model that you want to collect, which is very useful for this case, skipping more excess movement and platforming. But for this one, we actually need Jimmy. But because we didn't get Jimmy, we normally get Jimmy at the end of Factory Zone 1, but because I quit out with Timmy in his Master Model Chamber, we didn't end up unlocking Jimmy, but that's because I'm going to go for an out of bounds. And so by doing a precise movement, Jimmy's Master Model level is actually below this level.
当たり前のようにある即死トラップを避けつつ
specific trick called goose stalling. I can go to the end and save almost 45 seconds with it, so I'm going to try and focus real quick.
この大ジャンプは正規ルートなのか？正規ルートじゃなさそうに見えるけど。
And there we go. We just finished Jimmy's master model level, and now we're going to be entering
終わり？
the master model chamber. So that out of bounds and normally it just saves 7 seconds, but it avoids having to complete the rest of zone 1, which saves 35 to 37 seconds. So by doing that first try and no mess ups, you're able to save over 40 to 45 just from this trick, which is very helpful and really nice. And it doesn't cause the game to crash, which is
40秒から45秒ぐらい短縮したといったように聞こえましたが。
And okay, I got the messed up animation. So sometimes if you like were to jump during a cutscene, that will mess up with the character's animation, which causes them to just spaz out entirely. So now we're going to be collecting the final master model, which is going to be of Timmy's in Factory Zone 2.
飛ばして6個目のチェックポイントに行くようです。さっきは3番目だったような気がしましたけど、6番目を選択したようですね。
And I mentioned earlier Cosmo's a hammer. Well, you get to see him again. He's a hammer. That's a nice detail I like because in Nicktoons Unite he was actually the Starflinger, but in Battle for Volcano Island, the game that released before this one and after Nicktoons Unite, Cosmo was then used as the hammer, which was carried as well for this game, which I really enjoy because just seeing Cosmo as a hammer is pretty funny, and then like just realizing that like he basically was just like, yeah, use me as a hammer and being able to just like hit me around because I have no brain.
シワが時々ガクッと落ちるので避けつつ。
So yeah, that's the end of the final master model level, and we're gonna be entering to the last one, which is the chamber. And this one has a little bit of some more RNG with enemies placement, so I'm gonna have to be very cautious. Okay. So you can see these enemies right here. These are called wheels.
なんか途中で右方向にジャンプしてチェックポイントを通り過ぎたので、よしって感じでしょうか。いつもの中央線。
So these ones,
落ちたか。これはミスかな。
there's the firefighters and the bulldozers. The bulldozer ones actually charge towards you, and if they do, they put you in a
何事もなかったかのようにリカバリーしてクリア。
The firefighter ones just shoot projectiles at you, so it's best to just try and make sure that the wheelies, the bulldozer ones don't hit you, which is gonna save a little bit of time. But yeah, and we now collected the final master model. We're gonna be entering into Fairy World again. Woohoo! So I'm gonna be skipping this cutscene, and Fairy World itself in this game, well, in this run is going to be much different than it normally is because I could just go out of bounds, and there we go.
で、おもむろに画面前方に向かってジャンプ。
You can go out of bounds from the very beginning of this level, and if you're curious, I'm going to go all the way to the very
こ
end.
こ行くねーですが、
While it is very nice, it's not really like a flashy trick to show off, but also because it's kind of boring because we have to go out of bounds
画
for
面が戻ってきません。これはどういうことでしょうか。
But in the meantime, if
戻って
anyone
きた。
has like any questions in chat about this game or like the other Nicktoons
ここ行くねーですが、
or like if we have like anything to plug in, this will be an okay
ま
time.
た消えた。いやいやいやいやいやいやいやいや。
But an interesting fact I do want to mention, this level can crash casually because it messes up with the game's memory, which causes them to to just like load in much more of the level, which just freaks the game out and crashes. But because we get to avoid that right here, we don't have to deal with it, so woohoo! Gonna be enjoying some awesome music right here with Fairy World. Do 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 do.
クラッシュ防止のためにどうのこうのするみたいなのがなんとなく聞き取れましたけど、大
How can you
丈夫
tell
で
when
しょう
you're
か。
out of bounds? So when you're
非常に良くないことをしているようですけれども、一発でうまくいってくれるでしょうか。
some elements of the later half of the level, and by so you can that's where you can tell where you are. So as you can see right here, I'm using those as my visual cues to determine where I am, as well as the background music for this level specifically to know when I'm supposed to land back in bounds. So it's different for some of them, but also depending on like runner to runner for having like different timings and instances on visual cues.
BGM でタイミングを取ってるみたいなこと言ってますね。画面の中央下に頭がほんのちょっとだけ映ってるんですけど、
only at most like 10 seconds or like 10 to 9 like 8 to 10 seconds, but yeah. Also, I just want to do a little timing music with the
いや
background.
一体何を見させられているのか。
Alrighty, now I have to
うま
focus
く
right
い
here
ってる
because
のか
this
い
is
っ
where
て
I'm
ない
gonna
のか、
start to land back in bounds.
どのぐらいの難易度なのかもよくわかりませんが。
Do, 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 do. Alright, so this is the last element to tell where I'm supposed to land. Okay, so what I did right there is I aligned myself to the center, and when I did, I moved more towards the right. And by doing this, I'm gonna be able to just land in the trigger to end the level. So after a bit, we're gonna hit the trigger, and there we
嫌
go.
な予感がする。
That's the end of Fairy World. Timmy was basically being a fairy, and he was able to fly his way to the end.
成功したっぽいですね。
Would
どうや
like
ら
to。thank. Now we're going to be entering to the final level, which is Professor Calamitus's
いやー
lair.
一体何を見さ
This
せられてい
one
るのか。
is different compared to what we were seeing earlier. So you saw that the other levels were more like platformers. This one, as I mentioned with Enemy Park, is a shooter level, and this is much different mechanic-wise because you have different movement. You're inside of something called a
シュ
mech
ーターレベ
suit,
ルと言ってます
which
ね。
is how you control, and you're able to shoot infinite goo, but also having these missiles.
なんかロボットのようなものを操作して、
Now, I am
ミサイ
playing
ルで
this as
敵を蹴散らしてい
SpongeBob
くようで
because
す。
you're able to play as the mech suits as like other Nicktoons characters like Timmy, Danny, Jimmy, and Patrick and Samantha Manson.
多少のダメージも何のそのゴリ押しで突っ込んでいくようです。
But not only is the upgrade not only does it have it upgraded, it actually shoots out a bunch of missiles. So instead of it, because like normally when you shoot a missile, you actually only shoot one every time. But every time you hold it with SpongeBob's upgrade, he shoots out a bunch of them, which is very useful and can save a little bit of time, especially for the ending. So gonna just do this little section real quick. One thing I do want to mention is that this level also has an out of bounds, but requires a trick called pause buffering. So every time you pause this game and unpause it, the frame rate actually drops down by like half. And then when
ポーズバッファリングっていう言葉が聞こえました。なんかフレーム単位の技をやるんでしょうか。
You're able to just barely go out of bounds past the kill plane, and by doing some precise movement, you're able to land and skip all of this part right here. So it saves about 40 seconds, but it's really, really hard to get because you have to be at the right time, you have to get the right spot, and because of how late it is in the run, it's really something not to go for like at first because it's really difficult. Now, what you saw right there, there's a specific enemy called a Big Tin Robot. So what I'm collecting right there, the rectangular things are actually my missile ammo. So I'm gonna be collecting those because I'm gonna be using a bunch of my missiles and throughout this level, but also for the very end to destroy a wall, and that will be shown off later. But right here, I just have to deal with all these enemies. So I have to make sure not to get hit by them because if I do, I have a little bit of an animation where I get knocked back slightly, which slows down a little bit. But by just doing this, I'm just gonna do this. There we go. And the advantage of being this game on 16:9 is being able to destroy that one generator that far away. So on 4:3 you can't really do it because the generator is not shown, but on 16:9 it's a bit easier, but it doesn't lose that much time, just a little bit of time for movement, which is why I mainly prefer running this game on 16:9 than on 4:3. So again, we have like this level itself has mostly some auto-scrolling segments, which are usually like around 20 to 30 seconds, which take a little bit of time, but it's kind of fun. And another thing, even though, so I'm playing this on the Wii version as I mentioned, and I'm actually controlling my movement of my goo with the sensor bar and the Wii remote pointer. This is unlike it on the PS2 version because you can actually use the left and right analog stick to control your movement and being able to shoot your goo. But on the Wii version, because this game only supports the Wii remote and nunchuck on this version of the game, this is actually the main way we have to defeat it. Unfortunately, there is no way to play with a classic controller or a GameCube controller, which is pretty sad. I really wish that was possible because it would have been really fun. So right there was a little another instance of RNG. So you saw right there was only one big tin robot. Normally there's supposed to be two of them, but sometimes only one can load in. But if you're lucky, you can actually get none of them. But as long as you have like good movement and not get hit by their missiles, because they actually have auto-targeting missiles, which are the orange ones, and that can save you just a little bit of time, just so you won't get hit and knocked back, but also having to deal with some excess, just having to deal with like more enemies in your way. So just gonna progress onwards, gonna collect a little gear to heal myself, even though I don't have, even though I still have an okay amount of health, just needed to get healed up, just because you never know what can really happen. Because in this level, these blue missiles that you can see right here, that I like to think are water balloons, they can, some of them can randomly deal a massive amount of damage to you, leading to like a crit hit, and it can immediately put you in like low health. And then right here, I'm gonna play it safe. So I was walking to the center of this platform because if I were to go more towards the right side, that would actually cause this part of the level not to load in, and I would have no choice but to fall, hit the kill plane, and then respawn, losing over 2 minutes.
さっきまでのゲームとは同じゲームとは思えないぐらいだいぶ様変わりした感じですけど、弾幕が飛び交うフィールドの中、ロボットで無理やり駆け抜けていきます。体力ゲージ的なのがおそらく画面の左上の緑ゲージでしょうかね。だいぶ体力6割ぐらい持ってかれて、残り4割といったところでしょうか。結構ダメージを食らってる場面はあるんですけれども、無理やり突破してるようですね。
He did help out almost a decade later with some really good BFG division, as well as being able to help out with some more ripping and tearing. And if you know which music I'm talking about the soundtracks from the Doom 2016, from the Doom reboot, because this game's OST was actually composed by Mick Gordon himself, and I am not kidding. So it's pretty funny. It's kind of interesting and funny to just realize that he went from making Nicktoons, licensed Nicktoons music to suddenly making BFG
これあれなんですね。途中の部分に当たり判定ないんですかね。オレンジのビリビリは本当の丸っこい部分にだけしか当たり判定がないようですね。
So that game also uses the same physics and engine as Toy Bots as well, so it has like rolling and everything, and it's pretty cool. But it's also really nice because El Tigre is actually an unlockable master model in this game, but we don't get him in the any percent, but we get him in all master models in 100%. So now comes the last section of the
ところ砲台血漏らしてたりはするんですけど、お構いなしで突っ込んでいくんですね。
this can actually soft lock. So be very cautious. Alright, that's one down. Let's see if we get the other. Alright, time is coming up on when I walk into the cutscene and the cutscene plays. So here we go. And
神なと言ってるので、ここでおしまいのようです。
That's awesome. A 3506. Okay. So
35分6秒。
that is actually a PB for me, because my PB in this game is a
35 って言ってますね。
3529, and I just got a 3506, so that's second place. World record is a 3458 by Broran. Shout out to Broran, really great runner. But yeah, that's
世界記録が34分台で、これは世界2位の記録に相当するみたいなことを今言ってたように聞こえましたが。
But let's go. Woohoo!
Listen, shoulder pads, just get on with it and tell me I'm the winner. The
Another cool fun fact is that the game show host is voiced by Captain Quark from Ratchet and Clank.
But I didn't even know you were a contestant. Your irrational desire to abduct the very best.
間違いだったらすみません。
So yeah, Chadbot, first of all, he's
あ、
a
でもそうですね。
chat-
35分に、スピードランドットコム見たら、1ヶ月前に35分29秒の奏者さんの記録があるんですが、自己記録更新おめでとうございます。世界記録は別の方で34分50秒の記録があるみたいですね。
But yeah, and we helped them. But yay, we were able to stop Professor Calamitous from becoming the biggest genius.
Done it without you, my friends. Thank you. But is exactly what you got kicked. Care to know what your prize is?
Prize.
Not only do you get this fetching and fully synthetic washable
I'm just gonna let this cutscene play out.
sash that will make you the envy of all your friends and combust near an open flame, but you also receive your very own Professor Calamitous immobilist.
Now, I'm gonna say this. Here comes the greatest subtitle in all of video gaming history.
Not the mustache.
Wait for it.
It took me years to grow it.
前半はかなり軽快なアクション、
Cry of
ところどこ
dismay.
ろ落下し続けるグリッチがあり、最後は
Yeah, we get our revenge by shaving off his
ガラッと変わっ
mustache, which
て
is
シューティン
awesome.
グゾーン。
But yeah,
という、
that is all of Nicktoons
なんか
Attack
一つ
of
の
the
ゲームにいろいろ詰め込んだ感じの面白そうなゲームでしたね。
Nicktoons speedrunning community, we try and like find ways to just help bring down these games as quickly as we can for certain categories, or just finding many interesting like tricks and movements, because maybe there's a lot more that we haven't found. And just want to say this, so I just want to plug this in because it's really nice, but if you are interested in maybe trying out this game after seeing this run right here, and like maybe interested in like its movement, the glitches, the out of bounds movement and everything, we do have an 80% tutorial which does almost everything that I just did in this run. The only thing it excludes is the any character skip method and the Jimmy out of bounds, but other than that, you can basically do all these tricks as well, and it's really interesting and really fun to try out, in my opinion. So if you are interested in maybe trying out this game, you can find the 80% tutorial in the speedrun.com for the speedrun.com page for this game, which you can just search up by just searching up Toybots, and right there. You can also find it on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/crow3893, and you'll be able to just find the playlist with all 5 parts. But yeah, now I want to give some shout outs to the individual runners. So first off, I want to give a shout out to
YouTube
Bro Rand, the current world record holder, for being a great friend
お
of
しゃさん
mine,
自身が宣伝してま
for
すね。
being able to pull off one of the hardest tricks in this game in this PB, which is the layer skip. Now I also want to give a shout out to Schnurd0, who is the glitch hunter in our community, who has found many of the tricks used in this run, such as roll canceling, the out of bounds movement, not the out of bounds movement, the tack wrong warp with the maneuvering, and being able to just find many of the tricks.
このゲームのコミュニティ内で結構グリッチハントとかが盛んに行われているので、興味ある人は見てくださいみたいなことをおっしゃって
Because
ます
if it
ね。
wasn't for them, I wouldn't have started running this game more than almost 3 years ago, which is very helpful and really nice. And I'm really just happy that I was able to run a childhood classic of mine and being able to show it off to all of you amazing people. So again, if you are interested in maybe trying out this game or like the other Nicktoons games like Battle for Volcano Island, Unite, Laws of Doom, feel free to join our Discord and we'll be able to help you with any strategies or tricks that you want to try and learn. But you can also like watch the 80% tutorial, as I mentioned, for this game to try and get like a basic knowledge of like being able to play the main category and just being able to skip a bunch of this game as well, because this skips like half of it, which is really great. But yeah, other than that, huge thank you again to Big Bad Game-a-Thon for letting me showcase both 2 out of the 4 Nicktoons Unite series games. I'm just really happy that I was able to show off half of them in the series. Really just glad that I was able to like showcase like how much was discovered in this game in the span of like 2.5 years. Because many of these tricks were just found like one after another, day by day, or like month by month. And it's really great to just being able to show it all to all you wonderful people watching. But yeah, that is gonna be all with this. So if you are interested in maybe on checking out more Nicktoons speedruns, you can check out my YouTube channel. But also I stream mostly I mostly stream these games as well as like some other childhood games that I grew up with on my Twitch. So that's twitch.tv/crow3893. And from there, I can, like, if you have any questions about like some games or tricks, I can be able to explain them, or like in other communities as well. But other than that, that is going to be all with Nicktoons. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you again to Big Bad Game-a-Thon for letting me showcase this game in Nicktoons Unite. I hope you all have an amazing day, morning, night, wherever you are. Have an amazing day, have an amazing time, take care of yourselves, and enjoy the rest of your time here at Big Bad Game-a-Thon. Thank you for watching. See ya!
1枚でしょうか。はい、画面切り替わりましたね。ただいまのゲームは、スポンジボブと仲間たちトイボットの攻撃、カテゴリー 2%、でした。それでは、次のゲームの準備に移りますので、一旦失礼いたします。
That was a pretty solid run, and I'm glad you got a PV out of it. Now, coming up next, yes, we are just the sound of my voice because we are so without music. We'll figure that out. Don't worry about that. But what we have up next is Pasama doing Tulip. And that's going to be a delightful of a run. So yeah, stick around. We'll get onto it very, very soon.